Okay, good morning to all of you. Today we'll discuss the first chapter topics, that is the requirement and characteristics of high power devices. Last class we have discussed about different devices, that is thyristor, GTO and other devices we have seen, and their requirements and characteristics of high power devices. We should know the voltage and current ratings, and then the other characteristics like switching losses, switching speed, and then losses, on state losses, and the gate circuit uh, fundamentals, and all these things are required in this one. And similar to this, along with this one, we have to discuss about the trade-offs. Okay, how we compromise in between different characteristics. Okay, see, these are the topics already we have discussed, that is power flow in AC circuit, loading capacity, limit of the transmission line, how it depends, basic types of X controllers, and then in this last three simple topics we have seen, that is requirements and characteristics of high power devices. In this we have seen VI rating, losses, and speed of switching, then parameter trade-off devices. That means day by day the new devices are proposing for the fax controllers and other power semiconductor devices. They are emerging, and the technology is changing, and this will come back and we'll discuss about the classification. We'll discuss the simple basics of thyristor. Last class we have seen thyristor. Though you know about this one, try to concentrate. See, here it is a simple thyristor we have taken in this thyristor. So the symbol is this one. It has anode, cathode, like diode. Okay, it will have anode and cathode and the gate terminal. Okay, this is the three terminal device: anode, cathode, and then gate. You can see that it is a four layer device, three terminal anode, cathode, gate, four layer PNPN device, and you can the operation of this will be explained with the two transistor analogy, and but here, okay, we'll consider, okay, the this one, that is characteristics of VA using this one, that is for reverse blocking capacity or reverse leakage current will be flowing through this one, and here breakdown occur once if you go on increase the reverse voltage at a particular point, the thyristor will become to conduction. Actually, in a reverse direction it won't flow, but leakage current will be flowing. That is reverse blocking, means when anode is connected negative and cathode is connected positive, it is said to be reverse biased. During the reverse biased condition, current flow is very less, that is the leakage current, but at particular point it will go, it is breakdown. That means it comes to the conduction state even in the reverse direction, and it will damage. Generally, yet if you see that at a constant voltage, current goes on increasing. You can see that it is going to infinite. So that power value, voltage into this current, goes to infinity, and that is multiply. If you multiply, the power is very high. The power is very high, so that the breakdown or the thyristor will damage at this particular point. This is called breakdown. But okay, though we see it as a, it comes to the conduction state, but it will damage because of the power, extra power or power dissipation, so that it will damage because of the overheat and other, so it will damage at this point, breakdown. So in the case of forward block conduction mode, that is when anode is connected to positive and cathode is connected to negative, if you want to switch on, this one, you have to apply very high voltage. You can see that here this is the breakover voltage, forward breakover voltage VBO. You have to apply this much voltage to make the thyristor to conduct. So this is the a current at which it reaches is called a latching current, and holding current is nothing but the current below which it comes to off state. So that is the definitions of latching current and holding current. And this breakover voltage, forward breakover voltage, is defined as the maximum voltage at which it will come to the on state without gate current. Remember, here you are switching on this thyristor just by applying or increasing the voltage value slowly. Here by taking gate signals, different gate signals, you can switch on the thyristor at lower values. You can see that different gate currents you have considered, and if you increase the gate current value, so that it will turn on at the lower voltages, so that by using the proper gate current design, you can switch on the thyristor at any voltage that is desired. In a circuit, if you are using this thyristor, if you want to switch on, so it's just gate current is enough. Sufficient gate current you have to provide, so that it will be switch on at any required voltage, any voltage. Okay, so irrespective of this VBO, it will turn on. Okay, so this is the once it is turned on, this high voltage will be reduced to very less. You can see that it is approximately the value of the on state voltage will be very less, near to zero, but not zero. It is very less value, less than sometimes approximately equal to 1, sometimes 1.3 also, depending on the thyristor characteristics and the material used and other. Okay, different thyristors will have different characteristics, and different manufacturers are there, so that data sheets they will provide, so that in that characteristics also will be there. These different characteristics all will be given. Protection equipment, everything will be given in the data sheets provided by that particular company, manufacturing company. So here, so once it is on, it comes to the conduction state. So this is called as a forward conduction state or on state. Even during this state also, we consider some voltage that is very close to zero, but loss current will be very high. So that definitely losses will be there even during this on state also. So this is forward conduction state, forward blocking mode, and reverse blocking mode, and breakdown occur at this particular point. Definitely damage occur to the thyristor, and here it will be turned on from turned on without any gate current, and by using different magnitudes of the gate currents, you can turn on the thyristor at the desired value. So turning on the thyristor is in our hand. Remember, at any point of time, if you want to turn on this thyristor, we give the sufficient gate signal so that it will be on. Generally it will be forward biased, then only it is favorable for conduction, so that we give gate signal. And this two transistor analysis is not required. Okay, generally, well, while in the basics, that is for electronics, we are going to explain about how the anode current increases with this gate signal, and how the with the transistor operation and other, but that is not required here. Generally they will explain with this two transistor analogy how the anode to cathode current increases with gate current. Okay, with gate current, or when it is turned on. You can see that this is the gate characteristics. You can see this is the gate characteristics here. The character, this is switching characteristics. That is when gate pulse is applied, how the voltages anode and cathode, and anode to cathode voltage, and how the current vary that you can see that here the current is changes from zero, approximately zero to maximum during this on state, and different times we consider that is TD, TR, T1, T2, T3, that is different times you are considering, that is not required. Times are also, but here during the transition the current is changing from minimum to maximum, whereas the voltage is changed from maximum to minimum. So that this during this time, this is transition time, during this time it has some losses, that is that losses occur or transition losses occur or switching losses. Similarly here when it comes to off state, okay, similarly when off to off, that is when on to off, to regain its blocking capacity. So this is completely on, switching off again, switching off require, okay, the naturally the current goes to below the this sorry this current naturally goes to less than the holding current, and then it will become to off state, and again it will block, block. So these are called switching losses, or the switching characteristics. Then there are, we have seen there are mainly four or five applications you are consider overall. We'll just simply with waveforms we'll see. This is simple rectifier. In this rectifier, the AC value is AC voltage is converted to DC, but not pure DC. You can see that this is pure sinusoidal waveform, and this is half wave only. During this time, okay, it will be the thyristor is favorable for conduction because anode is connected to this one and cathode is connected to this one, so that during positive cycle this is forward biased and favorable for conduction, and we are giving firing pulse at firing angle theta, some theta 2, so that only this waveform you get. Whereas during negative cycle, this anode is connected to negative and cathode is connected to positive, it is said to be reverse biased, and so that it is not favorable for conduction. Only you get the this shaded waveform as the output. You can see that that is the output. Okay, though even if you give the gate signal during the negative cycle, you don't get the waveform because it is reverse biased. So similarly, you can vary this voltage, you can control the DC voltage by changing the firing angle. So this is about simple rectifier operation. So you get the controllable voltage, DC controllable voltage, you get phase control is possible. That's why it is called as a phase control rectifier. And this is full wave control rectifier. Here single phase you are considering, there are four thyristors on each leg. You can consider two, or transformer midpoint connection also you can consider. So in this one, at any point of time, two thyristors will be on, that is SCR1 and SCR4, like, and SCR2 and 3 will be on generally at a point, at any point of time, and you will get the full waveform. That is, even during the negative cycle you get the waveform. That waveform look like this. Okay, you can see that even during the negative cycle you can get this type of waveform, that is not shown here. So you get the waveform similar to this one, you get the waveform even for the negative cycle. So even that you get here, that is the additional waveform you will get with full wave rectifier. So this is about waveform regarding full wave rectifier. So in case of single phase, you will have only one voltage, output voltage in one. So you can get that full wave using center tapped or rectifier. Okay, see, even you take it as this is single phase, same thing you can use it as a inverter. Remember, inverter, this is the simple three-phase inverter circuit. If it is a two-phase, you will have only this one, this circuit, that is this only four thyristors you will have. That means two legs you will have. We don't have this third one. It is actually the three-phase. So we'll have this. In this one, the DC is converted to AC. DC is converted to AC, but it is not pure sinusoidal. Okay, you will have pulsating waveform again. Okay, that is the square. This type of waveform you will get in this case. Okay, whether if it is a single phase and it is three phase, then the phase voltage you will get like this, and the line voltage you will have different steps based on that. You can call it as the 6 pulse or 12 pulse, like that. You can take it. Okay, so this is power circuit diagram for a 3-phase inverter, or you can simply call it as a converter. Either we can convert DC to AC or AC to DC. That is possible with this one. Okay, so that is about the second application. And third application is simply the chopper, that is fixed DC is converted to variable DC. This is called duty cycle, that is T on by T on plus T off. And by varying that on time, you can vary the DC voltage. So it is a variable voltage you will variable DC voltage you will have, where in case of speed control of DC motors and many other, you will use this DC chopper. Okay, then coming to the AC voltage regulators, generally this is used in fan, okay, or induction, where voltage is changed, induction type machines where voltage is changed, but frequency is maintained constant. So you can see that in this waveform frequency is constant, only a part or portion of the voltage you will get both in positive and negative cycles. And in positive cycle, this T1 is favorable for conduction, but it is fired at some instant. And in negative cycle, this T2 is favorable for conduction, only during this time it will be on. So that this is a cycloconverter. The frequency is constant, but whereas the voltage is varied. The RMS value of the voltage is varied with the firing pulse. This is called AC voltage regulator. And you will have one more, that is the cycloconverter. Here will maintain constant frequency and will maintain constant voltage, and we regulate the frequency, we change the frequency. You can decrease the frequency or increase the frequency. So this is for increased frequency. So in a particular waveform, you can see that 3 cycles you will get in the first cycle itself, and 336 F becomes 6F. Okay, you can see that during this full cycle it changes 3 times, so that it is a 3F. So frequency of the output is a 3F in this case, but whereas here you can have the F by 4 in this case. Okay, the frequency is changed to less than that one, that is fraction, that's F by 4. So in this case frequency is changed in the, you can increase frequency or decrease the output frequency by changing the firing angle of these one here. In this cycloconverter, generally these are used to control the speed of the induction machine, and again it is used to control the speed of the fan, and many applications are there. We regulate the AC voltage, that is RMS value. DC voltage will be changed here, used in speed DC drives, and these rectifiers or inverters are used in many places. In FACTS controllers, the main integral part of the advanced FACTS controllers are converter, either single phase or 3-phase you will use. There generally the AC, this AC is connected to the line, that is transmission system, whereas this DC bus, okay, DC voltage you can consider, then it is called it as a voltage sourced converter. Once you have the inductor in series with this one, and if current is constant, you can take it as a current sourced converter. So there are 2 types of converters that later we'll discuss. Second chapter is based on the converters chapter, that is voltage source converter and current source converter. We'll discuss in detail about these 2. Okay, how the switching pulse is given, what are the, or how to get the output voltage, inverting mode or rectifying mode, and other parameters, and the different characteristics of these devices. You can see that a diode is connected anti-parallel to this thyristor. Okay, you can see that because to provide the reverse blocking capacity. So like that, many things you will come across in the inverters and the converters chapter, that is current source converter and voltage source converter. In that we'll discuss detail analysis. In the case of current source converter, we'll have a diode in series with this one. Again, their blocking capacity will be provided. Okay, because if inherently this thyristor is having blocking capacity, then the cost of that equipment will go away, goes okay, very high. Okay, so that's why generally this is asymmetric and having or don't have the reverse blocking capacity, extra capacity. Okay, generally if you consider any thyristor, it will be experiencing a reverse voltage, reverse breakdown. Sometimes if you go on increase the reverse voltage, that is the, even if it is reverse biased, it should be less than the breakover voltage, VBR. Already we have seen VBR, breakover voltage we have seen. So any thyristor generally it is in operation, it will experience a negative voltage. So if it is less than that VBR, then we don't have any problem. Otherwise breakover occur, so that it will damage. So it should have that capacity. So that things we'll discuss later. Then last class I left that that is voltage current rating. We will discuss with that one, and we'll close today's class. See that current and voltage rating of the thyristor we'll discuss. Okay. Generally, yes, any electronic device or electronic devices generally made up of silicon crystal, here diodes or any layers, generally they are made up of silicon crystals, silicon crystal wafers. Okay, they are ranging different diameters. Okay, that is 75 to 125 meters. Okay, and these diameters you can vary. Okay, because based on this one, the current carrying capacity and voltage carrying capacity will be depending on this one. Okay, generally this is made. Okay, then doping with different phosphorus or boron gives rise to p type, n type, and then gives rise to the other, and this strength, breakdown strength will have different one. Okay, p type and n type doping will be there, and we can construct PN device, diodes, transistors, and PNPN device. These thyristors all are made up of this silicon crystal wafers. Okay, and these have different diameters, and they are generally they are doped with impurities to get different characteristics, conduction characteristics, and generally doped with the phosphorus to become N type, and boron with to get the P type, and again these two connected to get diode and other devices. So that here each, you if you observe that the detailed construction structure, okay, that is this silicon wafers diameters will have the different capacity. Once if you observe that 125 mm diameter of the device gives around 3000 to 4000 amperes current rating capacity, and even thousands of voltage capacity, 6000 to 10,000 generally. So this is enough, but okay, there is a compromise. Once if you use in a circuit, you require hundreds, thousands of voltage. Okay, and it only 10k here, 6k to 10k, and 3k to 4k the currents are possible. But whereas thousands of amperes of current, and further you can have by, and the voltage you can have by using series connection. So once you connect in series, then many other problems you will have. The switching characters should be same, and many problems you will have once they are connected in series. You might have seen series operation of the thyristors and parallel operation of the thyristors. So many problems you will get because of to increase the voltage capacity. Generally, these thyristors are connected in series. Once you make higher rating thyristors, protection equipment also you have to provide, not only the construction, that is 125 mm, or even we go with the higher diameter, then you can increase the current handling capacity and also the voltage handling capacity. But whereas okay, just by increasing the thickness, you can increase the current handling capacity, and further you can increase the voltage and current, that is by connection seriously connected and shunt connected, that is parallel connected thyristors gives a large rating of okay, that is several thousands of amperes generally you will have. So but you have to see, while you are connecting in series or parallel, the dynamic characteristics must be equal. Okay, for example, once you give the firing pulse, if one turn on at a particular time and other takes too much time to turn on, then many problems you will get both in series and shunt. So to generally to get the higher rating values, you will connect either in series or in parallel. Okay, remember, so ratings will be taken based on this one and VI ratings, and these mainly these it depends on the this crystalline silicon wafers. Okay, and from this you will they manufacture. Okay, then this will because yesterday's class we have seen losses, different losses we have seen, because the cost of the entire FACTS controller depends on the switching device characteristics. It depends again on the losses, though the percentage of losses are very less, but it depends. Okay, then speed of the switching and other parameter of devices are also DA by DT, dV by DT, and many of the other we are taking, and day by day new devices are proposed because this is the advanced technology. And in addition to the thyristor and other number of devices are developed, and they are their electronic devices and photonic devices are also developed, and they are used in place of thyristor for the advantage of the other thing. Okay, so here different losses we have taken: switching loss, on-state losses, even when they are that is off, leakage current will be there, so that losses will be there. And gate losses, gate power losses also will be there, because sometimes in the case of inverters you have to give the gate current continuously. Then speed of the switching also you have to consider. Here the speed of the switching you will speed of the switching you will consider in different that is during conduction of full conduction state to non-conducting state, you have to consider dV by dt, and off state to on state you have to consider dA by dt, because the values are changing during the on state to off state or off state to on state, and that values are also important. Snubber circuit parameters are also important. Snubber circuit and cost of that equipment, because it overall FACTS controller cost depends on the switching device cost. So again, when you consider switching losses and speed of switching, everything will matter once the cost of these switching devices are concerned. So this is about requirement and characteristics of high power devices. And along with this thyristor, we use GTO in some cases. And classification we have not discussed in detail. Okay, so during the classification of thyristors, okay, we have to consider the other types also. Here we are considering simple symbol of thyristor box is considered as a FACTS controller. Then when it is placed in series with the transmission line, then call it as a series control FACTS device, series control, and this is a shunt connected FACTS controller, and this is series FACTS controllers. And in this one you can see observe that DC power link is common, then that is called unified control. Wherever, even if you see this diagram, in this the DC power link is common, then it is called as unified controller. This is unified power flow controller. This is interline power flow controller. Series, combined series, and combined series shunt you will have. In this case, this one DC, that is a DC terminals are not connected, then this controller is called coordinated control, remember. So that is the difference between a unified control and a coordinated control. Okay, if okay, you can see that here multiple controllers are there here, that is shunt one and two series controllers are there. Okay, multiple controllers are there. Then here the same series FACTS controllers with storage. Nowadays, you can see that renewable energy penetration into the power system is there, and number of advanced now the UPFCs, IPFCs, and other STATCOM, RCCCs with renewable energy technology is gaining importance, and here either magnetic storage or any other battery storage or any other type of storage are used here, and this is slightly different from the series connected storage type. Here you can consider a fixed battery, and from this one it will convert, whereas in the case of ordinary CCC or the STATCOM, their exchange of real and reactive power will be there, and if the it won't have storage, then always it draws some real power from the lines to compensate the switching losses and other. But whereas once you have the storage, then it will send the extra real power to the mains. So that is the advantage of this storage type FACTS controllers. So instead of always once the storage is absent, always these any component will draw generally reactive power from the line, whereas in this case it will supply real power also. That means control of that is increased, it will inject the real power and also reactive power. The compensation of reactive power also takes place in any of the case that is with the storage. So these are considered with the storage and without storage. This is about the FACTS classification, and already we have seen the other topics, that is loading capacity limits. Loading capacity limits generally depends on the thermal capacity, stability considerations, and also the dielectric strength. Thermal capacity, that is physical parameters of the transmission line, that is distance between towers, sag, and temperature, thermal temperature, ambient temperatures, and all other we are considering. But whereas in the dielectric, you are considering mainly on the voltage limits. Even any generally anything, any equipment, even it is safe when even 10% extra voltage is applied. Once if it exceeds that 10%, then only the insulation problem will occur, failure takes place, insulation failure takes place, and conductor damages. So every transmission line will have certain capacity that is decided by these three factors, and number of stability factors are you are considering, that is transient stability, steady state stability, dynamic stability, voltage stability, and frequency stability. So along with these one, subsynchronous resonance is also considered. Okay, then coming to the basic types and the loading limits, then benefits of FACTS controllers are also we have seen. Number of benefits are there. Main function of the FACTS controllers is that control of real and reactive powers are possible with the FACTS controllers. That is main focus. Control of real and reactive power in a transmission line is possible. That's why it is called as a FACTS controller, flexible AC transmission systems devices or controllers which controls the real and reactive power flow. That means decrease or increase the real and reactive power flows in the transmission line. Control is possible, and parallelly we can compensate reactive power. That means once if extra reactive power is required, you can supply. If that is a deficit of reactive power, if a surplus of reactive power is there, then it can absorb. Okay, so different possible reactive power compensation is possible, so that voltage profile will be maintained constant, losses will be reduced, active power flow is increased, power handling capacity of the transmission line capacity will be increased, actual power flow is also increased, and capacity is also increased. Remember that. Okay, once if you want to lift certain weight, you will have some certain capacity up to 50 kgs you can increase, you can lift, so that capacity it can improve, so you can that capacity, and also the actual power flow is also increases, or real power flow increases, and the capacity of the transmission line is also increases, and control is possible, and security, power system security is improved, and the stability is improved. In particular, transient stability. Transient stability will be improved by transient stability is improved, that is margin is improved by, and by proper connection of the tie lines and other. Okay, you can reduce the overall requirement of the reserve requirement of the power, because with existing facts controllers you can have extra power, so that you can reduce that reserve capacity. Reserve means extra capacity which is not used, only in the emergency conditions we can use that reserve. Overall reserve capacity you can reduce. Loop flows, generally unnecessary power flows will be there in different paths, okay, that you can reduce. Okay, upgradation of lines is possible because this is the used in the existing technology. So many, okay, and utilization of cheap power is possible. Okay, generally the main motto of connecting different power grids or interconnection of different power system is that you can transport the power from one place to the other easily using lines. So once you have these facts controllers, further advantages are there. That is, utilization of cheap power is possible. You can have, okay. So these we have discussed, that is benefits, number of benefits we have discussed. So security, stability, control, increase of real power, power handling capacity increases, and all these things. Voltage stability is also will be improved. All these advantages you will have. And basic power flows you have seen by considering a simple circuit, that is SMIB, single machine connected to the infinite bus bar. We did derivations for both real and reactive power, and from that one, the how the series compensators will control the power, that is by varying the x value, power given by EV by x into sine delta, or V1 V2 by x into sine delta. Power flow is inversely proportional to x value, and are the impedance nothing but impedance, and it is directly proportional to phase angle difference between the voltages, sending end and receiving end voltage. So by changing either of that one, directly will have effect on the real power flow, and reactive power flow effect will be there by injecting the currents, okay, that is a shunt compensator. So in detail analysis we will discuss in the chapters 3, 4, 5, and last one is UPFC. So then here parallel paths, power flow in parallel paths we have discussed, power flow in machine networks we have discussed, and phasor diagram, how real reactive powers are calculated, and how power flow diagrams we have seen. Up to 90 degrees you have the power increases, you might have seen. After 90 degrees power goes on decreasing, and it is not the stable condition, okay. So that power flows and other dynamic stability considerations we have seen in interconnected transmission system, and different controllable. Again, x value, from the phasor diagram we have seen that how the x value, delta value will have effect on the real reactive powers we have seen in case of series, shunt, and combined one. So the how the parameters are effect on the real and reactive powers we have seen, okay. So this is about entire unit 1. So if you have any doubts regarding this unit 1, you can raise, okay. So only simple 3 topics are given at the end, that is the requirement of power electronic device advanced we have seen. So that with this